Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that, can feel a little daunting, but it's maybe one of the most important things we do, the art of the good goodbye. See, termination isn't just checking a box at the end of treatment. It is the final, most crucial therapeutic act. If you get this right, you're not just ending therapy, you are launching your patient into a more empowered life.
So let's start with this quote, because really it gets to the very heart of what we do. It's this wild paradox, isn't it? Our ultimate success is making ourselves obsolete. Our job is literally to work ourselves out of a job, and that has to be your guiding philosophy. The second you think you're the one who has to solve every problem, you're creating the very dependence that we're supposed to be helping people overcome. We're building scaffolding, not a permanent crutch. So what's our North Star in all of this? What are we really aiming for? It's this, right here. The goal is for them to become their own therapist. Everything we do, every single intervention should point in this direction. Think of yourself less as a healer and more as a coach, a teacher. Every tool you give them is something they get to keep in their toolbox for the rest of their lives, long after they're done seeing you.
And look, I have to be really clear about this. This isn't something you tack on at the end. No way. This process starts the moment they walk in the door for that very first session. From day one, you're setting the expectation that this is a time-limited, skill-building journey. You're basically saying, hey, we're on a mission here. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and my goal is to give you everything you need to fly solo.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? What does it look like in practice right from the get-go? Well, it all starts with framing the journey itself in a realistic way. You have to normalize the ups and downs.
This graph, this is one of your secret weapons. Seriously, I want you to pull this out early, especially right when your patient starts making progress and feeling good. Because what does it show them? It shows that recovery is never just a straight line up. It's messy. There are dips, there are plateaus, and by showing them this now, you're preparing them for that first setback. It won't be a failure, it'll be an expected part of the map.
And hey, have some fun with it. I love this little tip from the source material, drawing the graph so it kind of looks like the southern border of the US, with Texas and Florida being the big dips, the big setbacks. It sounds a little silly, but it makes it memorable, right? It makes the idea of a setback feel less scary and more like, well, just a trip through Texas.
Now, look at the language here. This is so important. The therapist doesn't just lecture, they ask a question. Can you see why it's important to remember that? And boom, the patient gets there on their own. So I won't worry so much. That's the magic. That's not just understanding, that's them internalizing the skill of self-reassurance.
All right, this next one, this is a big one. And it's a conversation you're going to have over and over again. When your patient starts making progress, when things start getting better, who gets the credit? Because how you handle this moment can literally make or break their long-term self-confidence.
So your patient says something like, wow, you helped me so much this week. And your gut reaction is to say, oh, you're welcome, I'm glad I could help. Stop. Don't do it. That's a huge missed opportunity. Instead, you gently pivot. You say something like, I may have taught you a few things, but who's the one who actually went out there and did the hard work? Who changed their behavior? That was all you. You have got to give that credit back to them every single time.
And this is what it's all about. This is the toolbox you're helping them build. Just look at this list. These skills aren't just for fixing the problem they came in with. And you need to be explicit about this. Tell them, this thought record, this isn't just for your anxiety about work. This is for the next time you have a fight with your partner or your kid gets a bad grade. This is a tool for life.
Okay, so you've done all that early work. Things are going well. Now it's time to start navigating the taper, spacing out the sessions. And the framing here is everything. This is not you pulling away. This is a team effort. It's an experiment. We're basically saying, all right, let's test this out. Let's see how you do with the training wheels off for a bit, knowing I'm still right here.
Of course, tapering is going to bring up a lot of fear. And this is how you handle it. You explore their worries collaboratively. They say, I'm terrified I'm going to relapse. And you reframe it. Okay, but if a relapse is going to happen, wouldn't it be better if it happened now, while we can work on it together and you can learn how to get through it? See that? You turn the fear into a learning opportunity, a confidence builder.
And this question right here, this is your magic key. What went through your mind when we discussed spacing our sessions? Just ask it directly. Because you need to get to the automatic thoughts that are fueling that anxiety. It's not just some nebulous fear. There are specific words and images in their head. And we need to get them out in the open so we can look at them together.
And this is what you'll hear. Oh no, what if something awful happens and I can't handle it? What if I get depressed again? I couldn't stand it. And right there, that's the gold. I can't stand it. That's a classic cognitive distortion. And once it's out in the open, we can work with it. We can start asking, well, tell me about a time you thought you couldn't stand something, and what happened?
All right, we're on the home stretch now. They're doing well. Sessions are maybe once a month. This is the time to really double down on equipping them for what comes next, for life after therapy. This is where we make the transition from them relying on you to them relying on themselves.
And please, don't just say, hey, keep up the good work. That's way too vague. Give them an actual structure, a blueprint. This guide to a self-therapy session, it's incredible. It teaches them to sit down, maybe once a week, and do for themselves what you do in session. Review the week, set homework, plan ahead. It makes it a real, tangible practice for them.
I absolutely love this idea. A physical coping card, something they can stick in their wallet. And you walk them through it, step by step. Number one, and this is the most important, I have a choice. I can freak out, or I can use this as a learning moment. Number two, do a self-therapy session. 3, call a friend. And look what's last on the list. Call me if you need to. It puts the power and the skills right back in their hands first.
Okay, and termination doesn't have to mean goodbye forever. You have to introduce the idea of booster sessions. I like to frame it like a tune-up for your car or a dental cleaning. It's not because something is broken, it's proactive maintenance. Just knowing they have a check-in scheduled in 3 months, then 6, that can be a huge comfort and a powerful safety net.
And to make sure these booster sessions are actually useful, give them some homework beforehand. A guide like this is perfect. Having them think through what went well, what problems came up, and, crucially, how they handled them. It means you're not starting from scratch. You're jumping right into a productive, focused session.
So here's a perfect example of why these are so great. Your patient comes in for a 6-month booster. They went through a tough breakup, and wham! That old core belief is back. There must be something wrong with me. I'm not lovable. The booster session becomes the perfect place to catch that flare-up and remind them, hey, remember the tools we worked on for this? Let's pull out that thought record. It's a real-world test, and you're there to coach them through it.
So let's wrap up with a question for you. I want you to really think about your own cases right now. After going through all of this, what's one thing you're going to do differently, maybe even in your very next session, to start preparing that person for a successful ending? What's one seed you can plant tomorrow? Because that's where the real art of the good goodbye begins.